You go to San Francisco. Nice city, very hilly, a little foggy. Don't fly there Erev Shabbos because you're always late, you're always nervous. Then there's this bill to outlaw circumcision, which does not make it onto the ballot at the end of the day, but came reasonably close. And if you're like me and you find this perplexing, you spend a lot of time, actually, your research assistants spend a lot of time, well, you get to a certain age, you can't really actually do this on your own anymore, you need people to help you. So they spend a lot of time on the web. They go to beyondthebris.com. And they go to all these other websites, which I can't even remember anymore, and they start trolling around to see who's behind all this stuff. It's Jews. It's an unbelievable number of Jews. And the sense of self-hatred that pervades the pages of these websites, and we're in a shul, so I'm not going to go into detail, but the sense of self-hatred that pervades these websites, mostly Jewish men writing about dysfunction of all different sorts and their anger at their parents for having, violated their bodily integrity when they were too young to make decisions. This is clearly not rational stuff. This is very deep-seated anger that has nothing to do with what on the surface they say it is, which is protecting the rights of children. It's got nothing to do with children. And that has everything to do with anger. And anger at being part of this people that they don't really understand, they don't really get it. Because what they want, of course, is to buy into the American, and really the European as well, notion that we can all transcend peoplehood. Right? We're all part of one universal family. It goes back to Kant. If you want to do it philosophically, it goes back to Kant in his book, A Perpetual Peace. And if you want to talk about cultural icons, it goes back to John Lennon. Imagine there's no countries, it isn't hard to do, nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Promise not to sing it for you. Right, but between Immanuel Kant and John Lennon, Lehavdil elef alfei havdalot, I'm not sure which one's higher and lower, but that's another point altogether, right? I mean, at least John Lennon left Königsberg. But between Kant and Lenin, the world has gotten consumed with this idea that our differences are paper thin. We can transcend them. Well, there's no place like the Bay Area that is bought into the universalistic image. And what do they therefore have to do? To try to make illegal, not optional, but illegal, that particular act which has always been symbolic fundamentally of Jewish people. L'achniso bifrito shel Avraham Avinu. It doesn't make them Jewish. A Jewish boy is born by virtue of the fact that he's born of a Jewish mother. The bris does not make you Jewish. The bris is the way in which you are publicly brought into a larger covenant. A covenant of faith, a covenant of belonging. What do we read at the beginning of the bris ceremony? Which every moral says far too fast. But he should slow way down so people really get what's going on. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Haron HaKohen heshiv et chamati me'al b'nei Yisrael b'kan'o et kinati b'tocham. Pinchas ben Elazar, the son of Aaron the high priest, calmed God's anger when he became jealous for my cause. That's what the bris is. The bris is we need people to be jealous for our cause. The bris is the Jewish draft notice. Most of you haven't gotten a draft notice. Most of your kids haven't gotten draft notices. But I remember the draft notice of every single one of my kids that came in the mail. Because it ain't no joke. And a draft notice says you are part of something bigger than yourself. We need you to be part of this because protecting the larger whole matters more than you. And the amazing thing is that the vast majority of Israeli kids who get that notice just gear up and go in. The bris is our draft notice. The bris is our claim, not that you're Jewish or not Jewish, you're already Jewish. The bris is our claim, you're part of something much bigger than you, you're part of a people. And they don't know anything about Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron Kohen, but they have a gut sense that that's what this bris is about, and they don't want a part of it. You know that every moel in the world makes jokes at the bris. And when our sons were born, I said to the moel, you see these words in the siddur? These are the words that you say. You don't say another word. First of all, focus. But second of all, seriously, I don't need your humor. If I wanted humor, I know Howie Mandel. I do, actually. I'll hire him. He's not here today. This is not funny. And the discomfort that everybody feels at that moment, you're supposed to feel it. I don't want you to undo the discomfort with a little bit of humor, because I want them to live in the discomfort, because this is of huge magnitude. So say the brachot, do the bris, be quiet. Let the silence and the discomfort speak. And people don't want that. For thousands of years, our enemies have also understood that you can tell Jewish men by virtue of the bris. The Greeks did it, the Romans did it, the Cossacks did it, the Germans did it. Now, am I saying that because they did it, we should? No, of course not. But what I'm saying is that we and our enemies have all understood that this is a mark not of theological conviction, because Reform Jews and Orthodox Jews and Haredi Jews are all marked in exactly the same way. It's a mark of belonging. And in America in the 21st century, there are Jews who actually want to make that mark of belonging illegal. And what's extraordinary is that outside of a few people who read Tablet or JTA, this whole thing passed almost unnoticed by the vast majority of American Jews. Because they get it on some level. We're shaving this thing down from a robust three-dimensional sense of peoplehood to an anemic sense of a religion.